Hello, I'm RexyBlue, and today I'm going to be ranking which art creatures need a TLC. Do they need a TLC or do they not? This is one of my favorite things to talk about art. I just think TLCs are really cool, so yeah, let's just get into the video. Starting off, we have the classic Dodo. I'm going to say that no, the Dodo doesn't need a TLC. Dodos are pretty good as they are. They're meant to be like an early game creature that you just farm, like hide and meat off. But they can also be like nice companions in the early game because you can like hold them and ride them around. I just love holding dodos in the early game. It's just really fun. And in PvP, they actually do have a late game use because you can put like explosives on them and throw them into like other people's bases. So they actually do have a late game use despite being probably the earliest game dinosaur ever. So yeah. Next we have the T-Rex. Now I do think the T-Rex does need a TLC, but T-Rexes are actually like still pretty good, and they already had a TLC, so I'm gonna put them in already has a TLC. Hesperornis, I think they're kind of good and kind of bad. It's kind of hard because they have the golden egg, which they can lay, and it's like it's good. It's good because it gives XP bonus to like a lot to like smaller creatures like shoulder pets, and then to bigger creatures it gives less. But you can actually, I believe you can cook Hesperornis eggs and turn them into oil if you ever want to do that. It's not that useful considering you can get oil from bacillus sources or just literally like farming it. So in terms of a TLC, I think like, yeah, there's not really a huge incentive. They probably should make the golden egg do more. Like maybe if you feed it to a creature, it just gives it a massive like increase in XP no matter the size of it. Like I don't know. I think that'd be kind of cool. So it would incentivize you to like go on a rampage with like something like imagine feeding the golden egg to a Rex, and then just like I don't know, killing Gigantosaurus, Carcars with it, and just going on a rampage. That might be funner than just having it give like a small boost. But whatever. Woolly Rhinos, I'm gonna put in. No, they do not need a TLC. Woolly Rhinos are adorable and they're really good. So yeah. Trilobites are untamable. Iguanodons, I'm gonna put no. Iguanodons are very good in the early game. They're decently strong for the early game, and they got a good amount of carry weight and are very fast and have infinite stamina. So yeah, Carcars, no. Carcars are very, very good. I can certainly put them in no. It does not need a TLC. Cabrasuchus, this is a bit hard. The thing that brings them down a lot, actually there's two things. It's the saddle unlock. I think it's way too late for the Capro. I'm not sure. I think it is after the Sarco, which is weird because I think the Capro's better. I might be wrong with that, but I know, I think they're very close. But the Capro is the same amount of weight as a Raptor, so by the time you get the Capro, you almost like can't ride it because you have like too much stuff, like your armor and weapons and stuff, and like anything else you might have on you. I'm gonna put them in yeah. I think there needs to be a bit more of incentive. Maybe, literally maybe if you just had their saddle unlocks be like at a lower level. The problem is, this is a huge problem in Arc. It's like where creatures spawn and like how good are they? Because Capros, I think would be pretty fun in early game, but they're almost impossible to get in the early game because they spawn in the swamp, and the swamp is super dangerous. And taming Capros is super dangerous since they just take you off your mount. So I would put yes. I think there needs to be more of incentive or a change in location. Maybe like have them spawn in rivers like Sarcos do. I don't like Sarcos spawn rivers. I think. Oh, but again, Capros might be too dangerous. Yeah, I'm just gonna put yeah. Capros need TLC. Arthropleura, no, they are very good in PvP for destroying any structure. So yeah. Basilosaurus, no. Again, very good. Bronto, yes. I've made a whole video on why the Bronto needs a TLC. The Bronto definitely needs a TLC, so I'm gonna put it there. They are not good creatures anymore. Carbomanes, no, they are really good in PvP since they can swim, are pretty small, and are very tanky. So yeah. Carnotaurus. Now, I know a lot of people say that Carno needs a TLC. I want it to get a TLC. I don't think it needs a TLC. Carnos are very good. Their bleed damage is insane since that's percentage. And I love using Carnos for the 3 Broodmother Caves on the island. You can tame Carnos like sort of early on in the game. Well, you level up really fast in Arc. So what I do is I just go find a high level Carno. I do the Hunter Cave with it. I do the Center Cave with it. Or the Cave of the Clever with it. And do the Lava Cave or Cave of the Massive with it. Because I have Cave building enabled, so I can just build ramps for the Carno. They're very good, and their bleed is actually really good too. I'm gonna put them in no. Again, want them to get a TLC? I don't think they need a TLC though. They are awesome. Achatina, I was just literally thinking about this today. I'm gonna put It's not really a TLC they need. It's more like a rework. But since I just want to have a definite yes or no to this video, I didn't want to put like maybe because I just want to say yes or no. I'm gonna say Acatina. Yes, they do need one because they produce 100 Acatina paste in their inventory max. They make one Acatina paste per minute, so that is 1 hour and 40 minutes or 60. Well, actually, yeah, that's 100 minutes basically for 100 Acatina paste, and that's just not worth it. Like, I'd rather just make cementing paste because Acatina paste and cementing paste are basically the same thing. I'd rather just make it myself or tame a beast of buffalo and then like have an infinite amount of like cementing paste or a way to do it. Or I think what most people do is they just go to beaver dams and take the cementing paste out of there. So yeah, I think that Acatina definitely needs a buff to how much it makes its inventory and how quickly it does. Because an hour and 40 for 100 Acatina paste is not worth it. So yeah. Next we have, I actually forgot what Castroides that is. I usually just call these guys the beavers because they are beavers. But no, they're pretty good for what they are. They're a beaver that collects wood, so yeah. Chalicotherium. It's weird. I don't think they need a TLC, but they need to change how you like tame them. Since you need beer to tame them. The problem is like beer is just too expensive, or not too expensive. It's too inconvenient for a Chalicotherium because they are like good, but they're not like amazing. So it's like, why would I go out of my way to tame a Chalicotherium? It's not like thing is like the Dinotherium costs beer, but Dinotheriums are amazing. They're like in their own tier and they can go into boss fights. They're so good. So it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go out of my way to tame it. For Chalicotherium, I'm not really gonna do that. Like, the only reason I would tame it is because like I want to, but even half the time, like even when I want to tame these guys, I can't because I don't really carry beer on me. And if I did, I'm not sure if I would use them in the Chalicotherium. So yeah, I'm gonna put yes. They need to change how you tame these. I mean, they could be a simple like knockout tame or a passive tame where you feed them like berries or something. Like just change what you need to tame these guys, and I think they would get tamed a lot more. So yeah, Siberia untamable, Coelacanth untamable. Compies definitely need a TLC. I can't think of any reason why you would tame a Compy, especially since you need raw prime meat to tame them. I think that's meant to be kind of like a joke. It's like, oh look, this small creature needs raw prime meat. The problem with that though is that causes you in the early game not be able to tame these guys. Like there's been so many times I'm like, I wish I could tame this Compy, but since I'm in the early game, I don't have access to raw prime meat. So it's like, dude, like yeah, again, you gotta change the way you tame these guys, but also just give them some sort of TLC and definitely a makeover. It's like these guys, I cannot think of a single reason why you would tame a Compy. So yeah, I mean, I guess moral support, and that's it. That's why I tamed a Compy. I'm like, these guys, I just want to tame one. We got the Daedon, and the Daedon is no. Daedons are great. They do not need a TLC. Dilophosaurus is yes. I hate that the Dilophosaurus is like so small. It's basically like Jurassic Park's Dilophosaurus. And I wish you could just ride these guys. They would be so cool if they were like the size, or like a bit smaller than the Carno, bigger than the Raptor, and you can shoot venom off of them like as the player. That'd be so cool. So yeah, in there. Dimetrodon, this is probably my hottest take about Arc. I think Dimetrodon are good. I do think they kind of need a TLC, but you can definitely use them now. Like, they do have their purpose in Arc. They're amazing for hatching eggs, especially Wyvern and Rock Drake eggs on Aberration. I remember, I don't know how many air conditioners I was placing down in Aberration to hatch a Rock Drake egg, but you can just use Dimetrodon. Dimetrodon maybe with some air conditioners, but yeah, they're really good. They're what I use when I do breeding. I use Dimetrodon to do that. Next up, we have Dimorphodon. I'm going to put Dimorphodon in no, because Dimorphodon are really good. Okay. Dimorphodon are actually really good. They do a ton of damage, and they fly, so it makes it hard for a lot of creatures to actually hit them, and even players, kind of, it's going to be much harder to hit a flying creature versus, like, a creature on the ground. And since they're so small, they're actually really good. I would say definitely they do need a model update. They kind of look like the ones from, like, Jurassic World, but I don't know. I think they just need a model update since they look pretty old. So, next we have Allosauruses. I'm going to put in no. I think Allosauruses are pretty good. They're not, like, the best, but they are really good. They're really fast and do a lot of damage, and, of course, they'll bleed if you have more than one. I think you need 3 to do that. But really good creatures. I'm going to put them no. Do not need TLC. Diplocalus, I'm going to put yes. Their use is actually pretty good, but it's kind of niche. It's like, The problem is like with a Diplocalus, why would you ever use a Diplocalus before you like use a scuba tank? Because you're supposed to be able to use these guys for like underwater travel, I guess like in the early game. But at least for me personally, I don't know many people who do like early game underwater travel. Usually if you go underwater in the early game, it's to like gather silica pearls or something, or like maybe oil. But you can use an ichthyosaurus to do that and then swim back up. The thing is like Diplocalus can't protect you, so it's like I'd rather wait to go in the early wait to the late game to get a scuba tank and then ride something that is fast and can protect me. So I'm gonna put them there. They have horrible weight. They gotta increase the weight of that, especially if you're doing underwater stuff, because underwater resource gathering can get very, very heavy. And next we have the Diplodocus. Definitely needs a TLC. I hate that it does 0 damage. I don't know why a sauropod does 0 damage. I love Diplodocus so much, and it just hurts me that there isn't really much of a use for these guys. I guess in PvP you can use them soak, but even then, like, there are just better creatures to do that with. So yeah, I'm gonna put them there. Definitely needs a TLC. Dire Bear has TLC, so does Dire Wolf has a TLC. Doedicurus, no, Doedicuruses are very, very good since you can gather a lot of stone with them and sand on Scorchert. I guess they do need a, I wish they had a reduction of sand weight on Scorchert, but I wouldn't say that's, like, warranted of a TLC. I think how they are is really good. Dunkley Osseous, I've used these guys once, and I think they were okay for gathering metal, but, or, like, underwater resources in general. I'm going to put them in no. I think these guys are very dependent on where you are. I've heard on the center they're amazing because there's just like a lot of resources all next to each other, and the Dunkley you can gather them all. So for right now, I'm going to say no, even though I've never used these guys. I think they are still, I mean, I've used them once, and that wasn't for a long time. But, yeah, I'm going to put them there. I love Dunkley Osseous, but I'm just going to put them there. I think they are really good. So yeah. The Electroforce or Eel. Yes, I thought these guys were untamable for a while. I think they were and then became tamable. Definitely use the TLC. I don't... Yeah, like, I can't really think of a way or, like, how you would use them. I can't think of, like... I guess, like, why you would tame them. Like, they probably do have a use, but, like, it's probably just easier to, like, not tame these guys than it is to tame them. So, yeah. Now we have the Ecos. Ecoses are pretty good. I'm going to put them in no. They don't need a TLC. Again, I do wish they were faster and at a higher jump, though. I feel like Ecoses are too slow for being a horse, and their jump is way too, like, horizontal. It should be way more vertical. But still, I don't think they need a TLC. Maybe just a few changes or reworks or something. So, yeah. The Sea Scorpion, I don't think that's the actual name, but pretty sure untamable. Ankylosaurus is my boy. I love Ankylosaurus. One of my favorite dinosaurs, and was my favorite for a long time. No, Ankylosaurus does not need a TLC. They are amazing how they are. And Gallimimus. This is a very, very hard one for me, because I think Gallimimuses have gotten, like, freaked over by Ark. There's so much, because Gallimimuses are really fast, and they'd be amazing for an early game tame, but for some reason, their saddle unlock is, like, a level... Like, their saddle unlock is, like, way too high, and I'm pretty sure it needs to be crafted in the smithy, and you can't Ebola these guys. You can't, like with a raptor, you can just, like, I guess, like, trap them like that. You can't do that for a Gallimimus because they're too big. And, like, it's kind of messed up, like, how you tame them. Because I swear, if you could bola these guys and then, like, make their saddle in your inventory, which I think you should be able to, then I swear a lot of people would be taming Gallimimus. I know I would be taming Gallimimus because that'd be so fun. But yeah, like, I think they are really good creatures, but, like, Ark really needs to change the fact that they need to be able to get bolaed by, like, players, and you gotta make their saddle in your inventory. So yeah, for right now, I'm gonna say they need TLC, but I don't think they're too far off. Okay, so the giant bee queen or bee queen, it's kind of hard because I'm gonna put in yes, again, because while they are useful when you tame them to make giant bee honey, like, it's almost like, I don't know, like, I'd rather just, like, go out and gather honey myself on a character or on a dire bear. So it is, like, yeah, like, I don't think I would ever need to, like, tame them. Because, again, it takes 45 minutes for one giant bee honey. Yeah, I just don't think it's worth it. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But for me, personally, I'm going to put in yes, because that timer needs to be either dropped or every 45 minutes, it needs to produce way more than just one giant bee honey. 'Cause you get, like, 6, I believe, from your character. And then from, like, a dire bear, you get, like, 3 times the amount, so you get, like, 18 or something. So yeah, I'm going to put the giant bee right there. Next we have the Giganotosaurus. Now, as of making this video, the Giganotosaurus does not have a TLC, but it is getting a TLC, so I'm just going to put it in has a TLC, because there's really no point in talking about, like, yes or no, since it is getting one. And Gigantopithecus already has one. And it's, okay, so the Hyaenodon, I've rarely used Hyaenodon, just because, well, you can't ride them, and, like, I just, like, can never tame them. They always run away from you, or, like, they're attacking you. So I'm gonna put in yes. There's not really a reason why. I think their, like, saddle or, like, meat pack does preserve meat. I mean, I assume that's what it does. But again, that's not a, like, thing you would want to do. Like, meat in the late game, you can just gather that whenever you want, and of course you're gonna have preserving bins and refrigerators in the late game. So it is like there really is no point to tame a Hyaenodon. So I'm gonna put definitely yes. It does need a TLC. Ichthyosaurus. This one's really difficult because in single player and PvE, I think I would say yes, but for PvP, I don't think so. Ichthyosaurus are, like, super easy to tame, and they're pretty quick, so a lot of, I would say, PvP players use them to get around the ocean quicker, and to gather, like, silica pearls. They'll go down to the bottom of the ocean, gather silica pearls, or gather oil or something, with an Ichthyosaurus, again, because it's so fast and such an early game tame. So for that, I'm going to put a no, because they do have a spot in Arc, and that's really what I think determines the TLC, is if a creature does have a good and viable spot in Arc, even if it's only in one game mode. I mean, of course, even if it's only in one game mode, I think that's fine. Like, for example, like, I guess Carmamenes here, not really a huge use in single player PvE, but in PvP, there is, so I think that's why they're fine. So, yeah, I'm going to put the Ichthyosaurus there. Who is this guy? Oh, the seagull. What is they called? Ichthyornis, I think that's what these guys are called. I'm pretty sure they are tameable. I'm just gonna put yes. I'm gonna be honest, I've never tamed an Ichthyornis, so I don't really know anything about them. So I'm gonna put them there. Maybe I'm wrong, but whatever. Kentrosaurus is yes. Really, I think you should be able to ride these guys. I know their spikes make it really hard, but you can just have, like, I think it'd be such a cool saddle design to have, like, a seat on each side of the Kentro, and this, like, the seat's being held up by, like, side spikes. I think that would be so cool and just such an awesome idea. So yeah, it definitely is the TLC. I mean, I guess they are kind of good because they have reflective damage, but I don't know. I'm going to put them yes because I don't think many people tame them. I've tamed them recently just for fun, but I couldn't really find a use for them. Leeches, they're actually pretty useful, but they are untamable. Argentavis already has a TLC. These Ichthyes, unfortunately, untamable. That's such a shame. Leo, the Liplerodon. Yes. I mean, they're not really worth it. I think in Ascended they've been buffed for how long you can tame them, or they might have become a permanent tame. That might be very, very wrong. I don't know, but I'm gonna put them in yes, just because not many people tame them anyway. And I like Liplerodon are my favorite. Like, I think they're called plesiosaurs or like pliosaurs. Those group of creatures are my favorite. Like Chronosaurus, Liplerodon. What's another one? I think. Dang it, I can't think of another one. But anyway, Hyplerodon is just, these are my favorite, like, aquatic prehistoric creatures. And it's such a shame that in Arc, it's not really good. I don't think they're strong or have a lot of health, so yeah, I'm going to put them there. They do have a niche ability, but again, you don't really need to use, like, change, like, the rarity. You don't really need to use that. Mammoths are very good and already have a TLC. Manta. I've actually never tamed a Manta, but I'm pretty sure they are fast in the water. So it's kind of hard to rank this because I literally just don't know anything about them. Again, I've not really seen anyone use these guys, though, or heard about people using these guys. But I do think if you need, like, a fast tame, they're good. You know, I'll just put them in yes, I guess, since they don't do anything unique. It's very hard to say yes, because, again, I have never tamed these guys. But then again, I haven't really seen other people tame them, so, you know, I'm assuming that means they aren't, like, that good. So I'm going to put them in yes. Megalania, definitely yes. Megalania is one of the coolest prehistoric creatures there are, and it's such a shame in Arc they're not very good. I know a lot of people say you can use them to, like, skip caves or even the tech cave in Arc, but, like, I'd rather just fight it, like, fight the cave. Like, also, that's just a safer option, because if anything goes wrong and you're on a Megalania and, like, you've killed nothing in that cave, your Megalania is dead. Your Megalania is not 1v, like, 600 in that cave you're in. Okay, like, you gotta bring in, like, Theries or Megatheriums, or, like, even a Rex, depending on what cave you're in. So, yeah, I'm gonna put them in definitely as a TLC. They need to do more than just climb on walls. So, yeah. Megaloceros, I'm gonna put no. Megaloceros are really good. Maybe if you had the female Megaloceros here, but I don't think it's here. So yeah, Megaloceros are very, very good. So I'm just gonna put them there. They're very fast, and yeah. Megalosaurus is getting TLC, so there's really no point in ranking it. Megatheriums, absolutely no. They are amazing creatures. Do not need a TLC. Megalodons, they got like a little TLC when TLC 3 came out. Not really a TLC, but like a few changes, and they're really amazing now. They've got like pack buff and bleed, and that makes them so good for especially the Genesis bosses, or Genesis brutes. Since those creatures have a huge resistance damage, but the bleed of the Megalodon just goes straight through it. So yeah, Meganura is untamable. Mesopigalus, I'm gonna put yes. They do have a like kind of a good use. They can throw their like mud or poop at creatures to slow them down temporarily, but for like a short while. But I mean that's not really gonna be necessary. Maybe in the early game, but even then, so I'm gonna put yes. I don't know who this is. I'm not sure if this is Archaeopteryx or Microraptor. But either way, they both need a TLC, unfortunately, for Microraptor. But yeah, so I'm going to put them there. Mosasaurus. Mosasaurus is like probably one of the most disappointing creatures in Ark. You know, Mosasauruses are very popular. And they're huge, they're strong, they're awesome. And Ark's Mosasaurus is just huge. So it's like I wish it just did so much cooler things. It literally only has a bite attack and a bad turning radius. They are very strong, so that's really good. They're probably like the best or second best option for our motor on Genesis, maybe behind the Tuso. But yeah, like they definitely need TLC. They don't do anything unique, despite being a Mosasaurus. So yeah, Mosschops, no, Mosschops are very, very good. So yeah, Onyx definitely needs a TLC. I mean in PvP, actually wait. In PvP, they do kind of have their place because they are good, like, base defenses. Because they give Mega Rabies and do, like... They do a lot of damage to your armor, I'm pretty sure. So maybe no? I'm gonna put them in yes. I can't put the Onyx in no does not need a TLC. So I'm gonna put them in yes. Otter, definitely not. They don't need TLC. They are very, very good as they are. And whoops, you can no longer see which dinosaur I'm picking up next. Okay, well I think that's fine. I can just do this. So we have the Oviraptor next, and no, I'm going to put them actually no. Does not need a TLC. Their function of picking up eggs is actually super useful, so yeah, I'm going to put them there. Ovis, put them in no. Ovis, you can use them for mutton, which is very, very good for taming carnivores, so yeah. Pachycephalosaurus, they definitely need a TLC. There's not much of a use for them in the... Oh, I did not mean to pick up a couple of minis. There's not much of a use for them in the early game. Again, just because they don't really do anything. I mean, they do not torpor damage, so you could knock out other stuff with them. But again, like, I think just going for Trank arrows will be better. So yeah, can't really think of a reason why you'd tame a Pachycephalosaurus besides just fun. But now we have anglerfish. And I'm gonna put them in no. Anglerfish are very, very good for gathering silica pearls. So yeah, they do not need a TLC. Pachyrhinosaurus. Now, Pachyrhinosaurus is actually a very tricky dinosaur to rank if they need a TLC or not, because they actually do have their place in PvP. I'm not sure how many people know this, but they do have the same like reduction of damage to their crest, or sorry, to their frill. Just like, is it frill or crest? I think it's actually frill. Frill, like the Triceratops, so they do have their place in Ark. The only problem is, since they're rarer than Triceratops, they most people tame Triceratops. They do have the same amount of health, so like it's essentially the same creature. But since the Pachyrhinosaurus actually is smaller than the Triceratops, I think it is worse because it makes it easier for like, or basically for like turrets or plant species X to actually hit you on the back of a Triceratops, and even players as well. So yeah, and in single player PvE, they don't really have a use for them. You could use them; they're not like hard to tame, but like again, rarer than Triceratops, slower than Triceratops. What's the point of using them? So yeah, I'm gonna put them in yes. Does need a TLC. Next, we have the Paraceratherium, and definitely no. I love Paraceratheriums. I think they look so cute. And yeah, they were also my first 100 level 50 tame or max level tame ever, so I just like them a lot. But yeah, and they definitely have their place in PvP, so they don't need anything. Parasaurs, no, great early game creature and a great late game creature for PvP players, since they have that sonar, since they have that sonar ability where they can like help you detect enemy bases, creatures underneath grounds, and also just players as well. So yeah, and also when your base is getting attacked. Pegomastics. This is kind of hard actually because they are very early game creatures. I usually tame them by accident. And they are really good for base defense. Not base. They are good for like early game defense since they are very quick. I believe they're like, I think they're like way quicker than Dilophosaurus. So they actually can protect you. They do a decent amount of damage. So I'm going to put no, they don't need a TLC. Although, maybe. That one's very hard, but I'm going to put no since they do have a use in the early game where you can like, they're basically just like there to help you, defend you, or distract something. So yeah. Pelagornis, I believe you can fish off these guys. They're the only creature I believe you can fish off in the water, and they are great for gathering organic polymer, I believe. I've never tamed Pelagornis, so I actually don't know that. But I'm going to put them in no. Fishing is good in Arc, I'm pretty sure. I've also never done fishing in Arc. But I think they do gather organic polymer very, very well, so I'm going to put them there. So yeah, since they do have very good use. Phiomia, definitely no. Phiomia are very good for fertilizer, for making like crop plots. And they're good for like making hide farms too. If you need a lot of hide, just make a Phiomia farm. So yeah, we'll put them in there. Piranha, untamable. Unfortunately, I think Piranha would be such a cool thing. Plesiosaurus. I'm gonna put them in yes. They do have a platform settle and are very, very fast. But honestly, I don't see there's much of a reason to tame this even over the Mosasaurus, because at least the Mosasaurus is strong. I guess because in like PvP, like Plesiosaurs are fast, but I don't think you're really escaping players, or maybe you are. But regardless, the Plesiosaurus just doesn't have anything really going for it besides platform settle and speed. So I'm gonna put yes. I would love to see more done with that creature. So we have Procoptodon, already has a TLC. And then we have Pteranodon. Pteranodon or PTs definitely do not need TLC. They are very good in the early game PvP and honestly late game PvP. I'd say just not as good. And in single player PvE, they're great flyers. So yeah, Araneo, very, very soon of making this video are getting their TLC, so that's awesome. Poma Scorpion, I love Poma Scorpions, but they're not very good. They're the only creature in Arc I seem can never keep alive. Every Poma Scorpion I have dies like within 10 minutes after taming it. I don't know why, but they definitely do need a TLC because I guess they're just not that good. So yeah, their Stinger ability is kind of cool. It can do torpor damage and stuff. So it does have that use. But again, I think Trank Arrows are just way better. You probably use Trank Arrows to tame a Poma Scorpion. So why not just keep doing that? So yeah, Perlovia, definitely. Actually, they do kind of have their use in PvP because you can bury them. No, I'm going to put yeah because that's not like an exclusive thing to the Perlovia. Like Reapers, Basilisks, and then like probably other stuff. And if you're hiding loot, there's more ways to do that than a Perlovia. Like you can do like small creatures, kind of. But then you can also just have like hidden storage boxes or something, or like hidden vaults. So yeah, definitely does have a use in PvP. But since it's not like the only creature or even thing you can use for that use, I'm gonna put in yes. Doesn't need a TLC. Definitely needs to be rideable. I don't know why they're like bigger than Sabertooths, but not rideable. So yeah, Quetzal. Quetzal is getting a TLC. I'm very excited for that. I've always wanted the Quetzal to get a TLC. Now we have Archaeopteryx or Microraptor. Honestly, can't tell. But yes, they definitely do need a TLC. Just not a real use for them. Either one. So yeah. Actually, Microraptors do have a use in... Oh, wait. Where is Microraptor? Maybe they do have a use in PvP because they can knock players off their mount. They're great for base defense because I guess people just like forget that. Do I move them? Maybe do I move them? And I'm gonna keep them there for now, or I don't know. They are good for base defense. They can knock players off your team. You know, I'm gonna put them because what they can do in PvP is they knock players off their team because a lot of people just forget that they break into your base, and then they forget like, oh, it's just a Microraptor, and they get knocked off their team and they get jumped by like your Pyramanes, Gigantosaurus, Karkars, and Rexes. So yeah, they're actually really good. They can like defend your base when you're not online, and when you are online, they can help you defend. So yeah, we have Velociraptors, a very cool creature, and I'm gonna put that in has a TLC because it has a TLC. Sabertooth Tigers, they are useful, but they are falling behind. Similar to the Rex, where the Rex is a good creature, so is a Saber, but it doesn't have anything really going for it besides like I think it takes reduced fall damage. So yeah, I'm gonna put has a TLC. So I'm gonna put there. I've actually made a whole video about a Sabertooth TLC concept if you want to check that out. But yeah, I'm gonna put them there. Sabertooth salmon are untamable. Sargassous is very good creature, has a TLC. Spinosaurus, very good creature, has a TLC. And Stegosaurus, very good creature, who has a TLC. Next we have Tapijaras, and I'm gonna put in no. Tapijaras definitely do have their place in PvP, being a flyer with a tech suit, so it can be used to destroy like tech structures or just any other bases. It has like, I think it's Omni flying, so it can like go in any direction. Where's Omni Man? And then we have the Terror Bird. Okay, and I'm gonna put in yes. I think they actually are good in PvP for like rocketing walls, or like rocketing turret walls, or rocketing bases in general. But even then, like, it's not like they're the only option to do that. They are just good for that. So I'm gonna put them in yes, since I think they need something that's like unique to them. So yeah, I'm gonna put Terror Birds there. Okay, there's Xenosaurus. They are getting a TLC, so I'm gonna put them there. Delacoleos, they are very, very good creatures. Do not need a TLC. They are amazing. They help you kill Titanosaurs, to help you level up in PvP and in PvP and PvE in single player. Although it's really very important for PvP because you need to get to higher levels in PvP as quick as possible. And even besides that, they are good for caving. They are good for traveling. They're good for fighting. They're basically good for everything. Titanoboa definitely needs a TLC. I almost put a no. Definitely needs a TLC. Again, I don't know why you can't ride them. They definitely are creatures you can ride, like look like you can ride on. If you can ride a Diplocalus, you can ride a Titanoboa. They're very cool creatures, just being a giant snake, but I think it's awesome, and so do a lot of people. And them having like a coil ability would be awesome. So yeah, you gotta put them there. Definitely do need a TLC. Titanosaur. This one's really, really hard. Because Titanosaurs are good, but they're also like not worth it. In single player PvE, they're not worth it. PvP, they are kind of good. I guess like if you're going after like small bases, it would be good. But if you're going after like mega bases, which I think is what you're supposed to do with that Titanosaur, they kind of get shredded instantly anyway. Like you're not getting away with Titanosaur versus like a Paraceratherium, where if things are getting like too serious, like your Paraceratherium's on too low of health, you can back out of there since they're much smaller and much faster. But Titanosaurs do have their uses. They are just very easily countered with a Thylacoleo on an Argentavis, or literally just Thylacoleo. And since I don't think you can cryopod Titanosaurs, there's no saving it, and you're not getting away from a Thylacoleo on a Titanosaur. So very, very hard. I'm gonna put yes. Does need a TLC. Oh, that feels kind of wrong though, because they do kind of have a place in Arc. Maybe no. It's really hard because since they can get value, I'm gonna put them in no. But I think they are one that I want a TLC for because I want them to be like better. But again, I don't play PvP, so maybe they are actually amazing in PvP. So I'm gonna put them in no. We have the Ant Untamable Triceratops. No. Troodons, yes. I think their taming method needs to be changed for how good they are. Tusatuthos, no. They are really good creatures, don't need one. Eutyrannus definitely does not need one. Very, very good creature. Dung Beetle does not need one. Lystrosaurus, this one's kind of hard because they do have the like XP thing. But I would put them out. Lystrosaurus, you can't really do much with them, so giving them a like pet, I love that you can pet them by the way. Giving them an ability where you can pet them and they give you an XP boost, I'm gonna say it's pretty good for a Lystrosaurus and definitely gives them their own place in Arc. So I'm gonna put them no. Rhydinus definitely does not need a TLC. They are very, very good creatures. Baronox does not need a TLC, and yeah. And then we have like additional creatures here. I'm gonna assume they all don't need one. So Cephactinus, very, very good. Ceratosaurus, very, very good. Dinotherium, very, very, very good. Oh, the list is too it's like out of view now. Okay, Dinosuchus right there, and then Archelon, very, very good. Yeah. And then who's this one? Oh, Gigantoraptor, also very, very good. So yeah, and then we have Dreadnought. I don't know why Dreadnought is only here. I was meant to only do the island, so I don't know how Dreadnought came over. I'm gonna put him no, just so he can join. I don't want to leave him out. So yeah, this is my list. Hopefully I can fit it. Actually, I don't need to show the untambles. So yeah, this is my list of creatures that don't need a TLC versus ones that need one, and creatures that have a TLC. So yeah, this is pretty surprising. It looks like I've said no to actually the majority of ARC's creatures. Now my list is definitely not like it's not like the list of ARCs. It's not like this is the right answer. I'm sure some people will disagree with me on my choices, except for has a TLC. You can't really disagree with me there. But I guess you can because Gigas don't have a TLC yet. So you know what? You can just disagree with my whole list if you want. But yeah, this is my list, and it's very surprising to me. So yeah, this is just my list of creatures that need a TLC and ARC, and with that don't. So with that being said, I did hope you enjoyed the video. I'm RexyBlue, and if you did like my video, consider liking and subscribing. But with that being said, just thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day, be kind, and bye-bye. I'm in the Dino Squad 65 million years ago. Na 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 na, prehistoric hero. I'm in the Dino Squad. I'm in the Dino Squad.